All right, we are here in beautiful sunny Florida, and today, fight fans, I am going to be bringing you the fifth installment of the Hardcore's Delight for the month of May in 2017. And if you haven't watched one of these before, man, because I know I have a lot of new subscribers, basically I break this down into three parts. I'll pick out a notable non UFC event. I'll break down the really high profile fights of that card. Then, after that, I'll just briefly run through all of the notable events and all the notable fights on there. Very, very briefly, no kind of breakdowns. Just going to be breaking down the few fights that I pick out from the actual card that I'm picking to break down in depth. And after I get through those events, I ended off by talking about some recent UFC signings and whether or not they have a fight lined up. Just give little updates on UFC newcomers because if you guys know me at all, I'm a nut and I really, I'm really into like the regional scene of MMA and not trying to toot my own horn, but I get a read on a lot of these UFC newcomers and just guys outside of the UFC like really early on, and I like to pay attention to that, man, because I like to know these guys before they get into the UFC, and just knowledge is power, man, and giving myself all the knowledge possible is the best thing for me, in my opinion. So, yeah, man, getting into this episode, of course, as always, this episode of the Hardcore's Delight is brought to you by the MMATakeover.com. Highly recommend going over there, man. There's a lot of cool shit on there, man. Some great content, awesome articles, great video content on there, not just from me, but from other content creators as well. It's ran by a group of great guys, and I see that website blowing up here in 2017. So go on over, show them some love, and go check out the cool shit on there. That is the MMATakeover.com. So getting into this, man, the event that I decided to go ahead and break down here. Um, I went with Titan FC 44, and I'll talk about why I picked that event in a second. But this definitely is not the best non UFC event of the month of May. That's most definitely Bellator 179, the Rory McDonald versus Paul Daly card. But I decided that I was going to break that card down separately in a separate video, all just for itself. And that is on the weekend of the 19th and the 20th. There's no UFC event that weekend, so the video I'm going to have out that weekend is going to be my Bellator 179 breakdown. So before you comment and letting me know that I forgot about that event, no, I'm just going to be doing it in a separate video. But yeah, man, Titan FC 44. There was three fights I wanted to talk about in this card that I thought were notable, and the main event, man. Oh my God, I'm so stoked about this main event, and a lot of you guys might not because you might not be familiar with at least one of these fighters. But man, in my opinion, these two guys are the top two fighters in Titan FC, and in the main event I am talking about, of course, is the bantamweight title fight. Farkhad Sharipov, the bantamweight champion of Titan FC, is going to be defending his title against the 125-pound champion Jose Shorty Torres, who I think is the pound for pound, maybe one of the best fighters outside of the UFC. The dude's only 4-0, but he's had like 20 something amateur fights. The dude's already showing elite level skill. If he was in the UFC, he would for sure be in the top 15 of that 125-pound division, especially with how, kind of, I don't want to say weak, but it's lacking the elite, and I think Jose Shorty Torres with some more experience is absolutely going to be elite one day. And this is a tough test for him, man, because Farkhad Sharipov, he's a guy that has fought at 145 in the past. He's gonna have a size advantage here, but Jose Shorty Torres has fought at 135 in the past. But I don't know if he's fought a guy as big as Sharipov, but we'll see, man. I'll talk about more of that fight in a second. But the first fight I want to talk about on this card is Jorge Calvo Martin 9-1 taking on Bruno Correa Mesquita, who he was on the one of the tough Brazil seasons. This kid Bruno Correa has some real good grappling, man. He's quite the grappler. You know, he's got a submission win over Leandro Higo, who just fought for the Bellator 140 or 135 pound championship. He's got some good wins on his record, man. His last fight out in Tyson, he beat in Titan, he beat Abdiel Velasquez, who is a pretty damn good fighter. Submitted him in the second round. And the thing about this Jorge Calvo Martin dude, he fights out of Costa Rica. He's 9-1. Those 9 wins were in Costa Rica. The one fight he had outside of Costa Rica in Titan FC, he lost to this dude. What's his name? Alexis. Yeah, Alexis Villa. Who is a Dominican fighter. And this Alexa Villa dude is 46 years old, and he was able to go out there and beat Jorge Calvo. So, man, I just think Bruno Correa is just levels above this guy. He's not going to know what to do with Bruno Correa on the mat. Bruno Correa absolutely is going to get it there. This is a showcase for him, so I'm picking Bruno Correa via a first round submission there. Not too high on Jorge Calvo Martin. And Bruno Correa is a guy who can. He can snatch some limbs and choke some necks. So moving on to the co-main event here, man, we got Josias JZ Cavalcante, 21-9, taking on Kurt Hollabo, 16-4. I guess this is for the vacant 125 pound or 155 pound championship. I'm trying to think, man. Who was the Titan 155 pound champion? I don't know why they're fighting for a vacant title here. I thought it was Freddie Asuncao. I thought he beat Josias Cavalcante, but I don't know, man. This the website's saying this is for the title. I guess it's vacant, but either way, man. Josias Cavalcante, JZ. He's starting to gather some miles on him, man. He's only 33 years old, but the dude's been around for like a long time. He has been fighting since 2003. He's been in some wars. He's gotten knocked out a few times. And man, he went out there and fought a complete jobber in his last fight, and I bet the under 2.5 rounds just because I thought he'd be able to knock this fool out so easily. But he did end up going the full 15 with this guy, which is pretty disappointing. So I think Jay Z is kind of the skill is starting to decline. The miles are starting to catch up for him. And Kurt Holloway, he's no great fighter, but he's still a younger guy in his prime who can still beat good people. Kurt Holloway, his only 4 losses are to notable fighters: Pat Healy in Strikeforce, Steven Seiler in the UFC, Andre Harrison in Titan FC, who was the man, still is the man. Andre Harrison is the man, and his most recent loss is to Frodo Kasbulaev, who is a very good Russian fighter. And he's bounced back and won 2 straight via finish since then, and I think he's got more left in the tank when it comes to this fight, and I think he's just going to be able to outwork Jay Z over here, Jay Z for 3 rounds. Whether it's on the feet, whether he tries to grind him out, use that jujitsu, because Kirk Holloway has quite a few submissions. Jay Z, he got submitted in his last loss. Maybe that's going to be Holloway's game plan, is try to submit him. But honestly, I think he just outworks Jay Z here over the course of 3 rounds. So my official prediction is going to be Holloway via a 30-27 decision. And now moving on to the main event that I am just, like I said, I'm so stoked about this fight, man. I do think this is Titan FC's 2 best fighters, the 135-pound champion, defending his belt against the 125-pound champion, Jose Shorty Torres. Now, Jose Shorty Torres has a background in kickboxing and wrestling, man, so that's great right there. And Farkhad Sharipov, he can do it all, man, but he's primarily a striker. I think Jose Shorty Torres is the better striker. I think he can wrestle Farkhad Sharipov down to the ground. I think the jiu-jitsu, the grappling here is pretty much even. I don't see a submission coming from Farkhad Sharapov on his back. If Jose Shorty Torres gets it down there, maybe Jose gets a submission just because this kid has just impressed me time after time. So that wouldn't even shock me completely. Only thing here is, man, that I alluded to earlier is the size difference, man. This could possibly just be too much for Jose Torres. We don't know if he's biting off more than he can chew here. Farkhad Sharapov, like I said, dude fought at 145 pounds, and Jose Shorty Torres is a guy who primarily fights at 125. So, man, and Sharapov can crack. So, and everybody gets knocked. Everybody, unless you're John Jones, you're gonna take a big punch to the face sooner or later and get knocked the hell out. And maybe this is the time it happens to Shorty Torres. I don't think it is. I don't think the size will play much of a difference here. I think Jose Shorty Torres is just so special. I think he can just do whatever he wants here, man. I think the best route to take here is most definitely the wrestling, just because Sharapod is a great striker. Although I think Jose Shorty Torres could outstrike him, I think the safer route to go is most definitely the wrestling, and I think he could most definitely utilize the wrestling. So, Farkhad Sharapov, very tough motherfucker. I don't know if Jose Shorty Torres gets him out of there. I'm gonna go with Jose Torres via I'll say a 49-46 decision here. Captures that 135-pound title, becomes the two-weight champ in Titan FC. Hopefully gets that call to the UFC, because man, all these people are talking about who has the best chance to dethrone Demetrius Johnson, and the usual suspects, that the names that people will throw out: Ray Borg, Justin Scoggins, Brandon Moreno. Could be forgetting someone. Sergio Pettis, possibly. But I think Jose Shorty Torres, even with the 4-0 record, probably going to be 5-0 in my opinion. I think he could be the guy to dethrone DJ, man, because I'm not saying he's the level of wrestling that Henry Cejudo has, but he has very good wrestling to where he could utilize that, and he has all the other tools. A well-rounded martial artist carries to go out there and maybe be the guy to dethrone DJ. You never know, because yeah, man, I do think very highly of this kid. So I'm gonna be going with him via decision here to capture the title. So that's Titan FC, man, and that is Jesus Christ, I accidentally just exit out, so can't even tell you when the fuck it is. I think it's May 19th or May 20th. I'm just gonna look that up real quick for you guys, so I'm not giving you some bullshit date. But yeah, I'm gonna be briefly running through all these notable non-UFC events here in the month of May. And there's a lot of there's a lot of events of like notable promotions, but none of them are really putting on any kind of big fights. There's only a few fights I really want to talk about in depth here. But yeah, that Titan FC is Friday, the 19th of May, 7 p.m. on Fight Pass. So yeah, man, if you're not doing anything that Friday night, I highly recommend at least tuning into the main event, because great fight. Titan FC's two best fighters in my opinion. So moving on, man. We got LFA 11 on this Friday, the 5th. Looking at this card, man, I like to at least mention the LFA events because I really like that promotion, but the thing is, they are doing like 3 events a month, so the depth of these cards really, like on this card, I see one familiar name on this card, and that is LaRue Burley in the co-main event. He's fighting a guy who's 6-0. We'll see what happens there, but I don't even know these guys, man, and you know how much of a hardcore nut I am. So yeah, I mean, maybe if I'm not doing anything this Friday night, maybe I'll tune in Access TV, but most likely not. I mean, the main event is two guys, 10-2 versus 6-1. Thing is, there's a lot of undefeated guys on this card, like 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 7-0, 3-0, but none of them are facing undefeated guys. They're all fighting guys like 9-5, 6-3, 9-3. They're not putting any of the undefeated guys up against each other. Just building stars up. LFA knows how to, or I should say, Legacy and RFA merged, because that's what LFA is. That merger. Those two promotions have always known how to groom guys to come into the UFC, because I mean, you look at half the UFC roster, the men's divisions. Most of them have. I shouldn't say most, but a lot of them have came from Legacy and RFA. You even look at Cynthia Calvillo, man, who's just killing it in the strawweight division. She fought on LFA one. She was the first LFA fighter to get signed to the UFC, but probably not going to be watching that just because that card is pretty lackluster. But Cage Warriors 83 this Saturday, the 6th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, going to be on Fight Pass. Not a whole lot going on here. There is a couple prospects. Actually, this card ain't bad, man. Where is this? Is this in Wales? There's a lot of Wales. Yeah, this is in Newport, Wales, because there's a lot of Welsh fighters on this card, man. A prospect I'm pretty damn high on, who I've done a breakdown for his fight. Jack Shore. He's 4-0, but he's got something like 15-0 amateur record. Dude can fucking grapple, man. Dude is just, he's well rounded, but that grappling is amazing. He's definitely a Welsh undefeated guy to look out for. He's 4-0, just demolished everyone he's fought before. He's fighting an 8-3 French guy, so that's probably going to be an easy win for him. And his teammate Josh Reed, who was also undefeated at 6-0, he had a tough fight last time out. I think he won like a split decision. He's fighting a 7-3 guy here, so I expect him to definitely win too. Both those guys, two undefeated Welshmen to look out for sure. Scott Clist is in the co-main event, who's a fighter I like to watch, who just kind of stands and bangs. Definitely got to work on that ground game though, for sure, man. But the main event is Lewis Long, 14-4, and he's taking on Shea Mills, the former UFC fighter, man. And I think. I don't know, man. I'm not so sure that Che Mills is really all there in the game anymore. He's lost his last, man, 5 out of 6. He's lost his last 5 out of 6, man. So I think he's a little. He simply just doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't care. I don't know. But Lewis Long, 14-4, Welsh fighter, fighting in his home country, man. Looking at his record right now, he has quite a lot of submission victories against some decent records. His only loss in the last 4 years has been to Andreas Stahl. I'm going to say Lewis Long gets the victory here over the UFC vet Shea Mills. But moving on, Bama 29 is Friday the 12th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But the main event is Brett McDermott, so that says all you need to know about this card and its depth. So I just wanted to mention Bama because I do like that organization. ACB 60 is on the 13th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're looking to just get some MMA in before that huge 211 card, this is the same day, roughly around 6 or 7 hours earlier. So if you want to watch some fights, ACB is usually always on YouTube. Thing is, no notable fighters on the card, but if you're just looking for some MMA, it's definitely worth tuning into. EFN 65 is on the 19th at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're always on Fight Pass, but looking at Tapology, I don't see any confirmed fights for the card yet. Like I said, guys, a lot of these big promotion events, but really no notable fights. LFA 12, Friday the 19th as well in Minnesota. No notable fights there as well, but like I said, if you're not doing anything on a Friday night, Access TV's always got your fight fix for you. ACB 61, Saturday the 20th in St. Petersburg, Russia. Once again, no. Oh, wow. Why? Okay, I missed this when I was going and looking at these cards beforehand before starting the video, but because I was just looking at like the co-main event and main event, but looking at the middle of the card here, a couple notable guys, man. Albert Tumanov is fighting on this card, so if you're looking for a little Albert Tumanov in your life, he is fighting for ACB on the 20th. That event starts at 10 a.m. Albert Tumanov is facing a man named Marcelo Alafaya, who is Brazilian, 18-7. He's probably going to get absolutely slaughtered. And Elvis Mutapcic, who just got cut by the UFC, is on this card. He's fighting a 35-9 Russian. I would give a good guess here saying that Elvis Mutapcic, he gets slaughtered as well. But yeah, man, couple of former UFC fighters on this ACB card on the 20th, and then we got Invicta FC 23 on also the 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, also on Fight Pass. And you know me, guys, I'm a huge fan of Invicta. I like them a lot, and there's some notable stuff on here. The main event is Vanessa Porto versus Agnieszka Nidziewicz, who's a very good Polish fighter, 9-0 undefeated. Vanessa Porto has kind of been a staple of women's 125 for like years now, but I think this Polish chick is the truth, and I think she beats Vanessa Porto. That's actually a pretty good main event. Couple of vets in the co-main event: Roxanne Modafferi versus Sarah DeLelio. Um, I don't think so highly of Roxanne Modafferi. She's for sure made improvements with her striking, but Sarah DeLelio, since dropping to 125, like she's looked good, man, and she's taken out like up and comers like Andrea Lee. She beat her by decision, and I think Sarah DeLelio beats Roxanne Modafferi here probably by decision. Former 105-pound champion Erica Tabercio is fighting a girl named Tessa Simpson, who I've never heard of. I'd guess Tabercio gets a pretty easy victory there. Two former UFC fighters here. Elizabeth Phillips is fighting Kelly Fasholtz. If there's odds on that fight, man, I'm for sure gonna bet on Kelly Fasholtz because although she did lose her only two UFC fights to Lauren Murphy and Ketlin Vieira, she's tough as fuck, man, and she's got some skills, and she's a hell of a lot better than Elizabeth Phillips, in my opinion. Elizabeth Phillips is, to put it lightly, I think she's trash. And then we got Andrea KGB Lee on the card, who I just mentioned. She's fighting a girl named Liz Tracy. I expect KGB to probably starch this girl like she did to her last girl. She's young, man, so they're just going to keep giving her these cans to have good performances. Tiffany Van Soest, she's 0-2 in MMA, but she ain't stopping, man. She's coming back for another one, giving it another try here. She's fighting Christine Ferreira, 1-0. Um, I think Tiffany Van Soest probably she probably gets the win here. I think she wouldn't try this if she didn't think she could win. 0-2 is a tough start in MMA. She's a kickboxer, man. She just doesn't have the grappling, the wrestling. She just doesn't have it. But from the little I know about Christine Ferreira, she's also a striker, so that's probably a showcase for old Tiffany Time Bomb. And then nothing really else notable on this card, man. Just a couple more events. EFN 66 is on the 25th. That'll be on Fight Pass, but I'm not seeing any fights confirmed for it yet. One Championship Dynasty of Heroes is on, and I love the names of the One Championship events. They always come out with cool ass names like fucking Kingdom of Dragons, Dynasty of Heroes. I love it. One is a really cool promotion. They're going to be on Friday the 26th at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's usually why I miss these events because they're always super, super early in my time. But, man, they have easily their two biggest stars on this card. You got Angela Lee in the main event, 7-0. If you don't know Angela Lee, man, she is quite the phenom over in 1FC. She's just been going out there and destroying everyone, having all kinds of crazy, crazy epic fights. She's going to be defending her strawweight title against Estela Nunez, who is 6-0. Looking at her record here in a second. Like I said, guys, I don't do like full research for these. I basically just bullshit and read through all the notable shit. The only cards I really, or the only fights I really break down in depth are the cards I start with in the beginning with those three Titan fights. But Estela Nunez has a win over Mei Yamaguchi. No one else really notable. This is probably just another showcase fight for Angela Lee here. Probably get it done by submission. And then the co-main event, man. I'm surprised he's not the main event. Got Ben Askren finally going out there and defending his title for the first time in a while against man, I don't even know what kind of flag that is. I don't know where this guy fights out of. I want to say that's Malaysia. So we got a 6-0 Malaysian guy. Wow. I can't wait to see what the odds are going to be on this, man. Ben Askren's probably going to throw this poor man around like crazy. Um, Man, he's 7-0 and he's got a 6-0 amateur record too. So 13-0 is nothing to fuck with. But I highly doubt this man from Malaysia is going to be able to stuff the takedowns of Ben Askren. So yeah, man, that's one FC. Definitely recommend tuning into that one, even though it's super early, because you got two stars right there, Ben Askren and Angela Lee. And then last one of the month of May that I want to talk about is KSW 39 on Saturday the 27th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I like KSW, man. They're a promotion I've liked for a very long time, a Polish promotion, and they put together quite the interesting card here. The main event is Mamad Khalidov, who's coming off that brutal knockout of Luke Barnott, just absolutely starched Barnott. He's fighting in the main event against a guy I've never heard of, but he's 19-5, so I guess he's not too bad. But I'm definitely gonna go with Khalidov there, probably by submission, definitely a finish. And then Puds, man, Mariusz Pudzianowski is in the co-main event. He's fighting a 3-0 guy who I really don't know much about, but I always look to fade Mariusz Pudzianowski. So I'm gonna go with the 3-0 guy there. Anything else really notable? That one Polish rapper guy who Pudzianowski beat last time out, Powell Rock. He's 2-2. Pudzianowski starched him last time. I guess he's some kind of rapper in Poland, and he's fighting in KSW now. This guy's got a pretty interesting story. Um, he's fighting a 2-0 guy, and I clicked on this 2-0 guy's profile, and his fucking arms are the size of my bedroom. This guy is on all of the roids. If you don't know, if you want to see what I'm talking about, you can just go on Tapology, go onto the KSW 39 event page, and then click on the guy who is fighting Powell Rock. His name is Robert Bernica. He's 2-0, and this guy's arms are fucking ridiculous. I'm not sure if this is photoshopped. If it's not, he took every single steroid in the country of Lithuania, because that's where he's from. But yeah, I expect him to go out there and starch this rapper guy. And Norman Park is on the card, man. He's fighting for the lightweight title, man. He's fighting a 12-0 fighter, Mateus Gamrot. I'm gonna look at Gamrot's record here, because this could actually be a real good fight if this guy's actually beat some good competition. Um, yeah, he's beaten some good guys: 20-8, 12-3, 13-0, 16-3. Yeah, Andre. He beat Andre Winner, former UFC fighter. This guy. Yeah, man, this guy is probably going to go out there and beat Norman Park, in my opinion. He looks like quite a stud just looking at his record. That's interesting. Sokaju is on the card. He's fighting a 15-10 guy. Probably going to be a knockout there because that's what tends to happen in Sokaju fights. Marcin Rozek is on the card defending his featherweight title. He was on the season of McGregor versus Faber. Um, he's a Polish fighter. He's done pretty damn well for himself since getting cut by the UFC. I forget who his only UFC fight was. I think he debuted against Julian Erosa and they cut him. Yeah, it was against Julian Erosa, and he lost against Saul Rogers on the show. But he has been killing it in KSW since he got cut. Marcin Roshek is a fighter I like watching, and that's about it for KSW, man. So that's gonna do it for me. And then lastly, I'm gonna talk about recent UFC signings, because there has been a couple lately. I've talked about Dave Branch already. I talked about Marlon Moraes getting signed, but I don't think I talked about his fight. He got a fight against Rafael Assunção in UFC 212. I think that's just the perfect fight for Marlon Moraes, man, because Assunção is still like a top five guy who's still capable, still a very good fighter. He still gets wins over guys like Aljamain Sterling, but that being said, I think that's perfect for Marlon Moraes because he comes in, debuts, beats a top five guy, and I just think there's a very good stylistic matchup for him. I think Marlon Moraes should roll there. Um, and then Justin Gaethje just got signed by the UFC. I don't think I've talked about that yet because that's very recent. Doesn't have a fight yet, man, but one of the most exciting fighters in MMA, 17-0. Justin Gaethje is the man. UFC just ripped all of World Series of Fighting's best fighters. It's pretty funny. WSOF probably won't be around for much longer. any more notable signings here. Rashad Coulter, who is a LFA heavyweight, he just got signed to fight in 10 days against Chase Sherman. He's all right, man. He's not too bad. I'm probably going to be picking Chase Sherman there, but Rashad Coulter is a fighter that I've been watching in LFA for about a year or two now. And then the man who everyone is just talking about, who he trains over at Mark Henry's gym with Frankie Edgar and all them, and they talk so highly of this Russian dude, Zabit Magomed Sharapov. They claim this kid's going to be the future featherweight champion, so we'll see what happens there, how good this kid really is. Anything else? Yeah, Aspen Ladd, who is one of the Invicta fighters I'm most high on. She's very good women's bantamweight, and she's going to be debuting against Jessica I. I completely forget what card this is. I think it's the International Fight Week card, not the 213 one, but the night before that. She's fighting Jessica I, and I'm most definitely going to be picking Aspen Ladd there because I'm pretty high in her, and Jessica I is a fighter that she's just been not doing well, man. She really never was good from the start. I like Aspen Ladd there. And that's gonna do it for me, guys. That's about it for this episode. 30 minutes long, pretty long. I know I ramble, but if you sit through it and watch this whole video, then you are the fucking man. You're a savage. And I want to remind you guys all to like the video, subscribe, comment below, tell me what fights you're looking forward to here in the month of May. Um, somewhere next week, somewhere between Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to be coming with that 211 roundtable breakdown. I'm going to have Rockstar Z as always, and then I'm going to be having Daniel Levy of Half the Battle. But yeah, man, next week will be that 211 breakdown. Week after that will be the McDonald versus Daly breakdown card. And then capping off the month with I think it's the Gustafsson versus Teixeira card. So good shit coming to the channel this month. Subscribe if you're not, and I appreciate you guys watching this video. And once again, I'll remind you, go check out the MMATakeover.com. Awesome website. Those guys are cool as shit. There's all kinds of awesome content on the channel. I know I keep saying awesome, but they're fucking awesome. But that's gonna do it for me, guys. I'll see you next week with the 211 breakdown. Enjoy the fights.